So we flew in very late last night, and by the time we went to bed, it was after midnight. And then we got up bright and early, well, kind of, the girls and I, to go watch my oldest swim the Pac-12 championship. And now we have this downtime between her preliminary races and then finals tonight. And we are simply enjoying this time in nature. You know, we were able to drive along the scenic route rather than getting on the freeway and hurrying up and getting there. We have plenty of time, right? And so I asked my phone, you know, beach near me, and voila, we're here. Or voila, we're here. We're at this beach and listening to the sound of the waves crashing on the rocks and looking at these amazing, beautiful natural sculptures of a tree that is basically a driftwood tree, to see shells and little rocks that have things growing through them. It's just awe-inspiring. I was working with a client the other day, and one of the things I saw that was so clear was, in order to take care of herself, what she was needing was more time in nature. Now, personally, I live in nature. I live in the woods. I have trees around me, and I have, you know, the sounds of the chirping birds, and, you know, just all of this energy that sustains me. And beauty in nature are just, they just speak to my soul. And my guess is to you too, if you take the time to experience and let that energy feed your soul. And just like yesterday, my girls and I have come out to the beach, and it was much brighter yesterday, much more sunshine and more people. But today it's our beach. It's a quiet beach. And the nice thing is that it's still just as lovely, just as serene, and maybe slightly more overcast, but it's nice. It's lovely. You know, I'm used to the California weather, and I guess my friend who we're staying with was saying that it's been so rainy here, of course, because we're in Seattle. And then all of a sudden yesterday was gorgeous, and then today is lovely. And you know, there might be a little bit of an overcastness and a little bit of sprinkles, but it's a lovely day. And literally, I am laying on the rocks. You know, there's nothing more, I don't know, grounding than really connecting in with nature and literally allowing it to feed us on a soul level, on a body level. And I am such a rock person. I live near a river, walking distance from a river, and one of the things my girls and I do are just look for and find these incredible rocks. Anyway, not much more going on with me except just being me and being a mom and being with my kids and having some downtime in nature. Back here in California, I'm back to being, you know, in my environment, which feels so much more, you know, I get to breathe. I'm not in a big city. I get to have my, you know, country home again. So again, connecting in with nature is huge, as a huge part of how I ground and having this sacred space around me. But today I wanted to share with you a bit about what's going on collectively. One of the things that I was noticing over the past maybe week and a half or so was just this intense streaming of energy coming into us. And in spite of me, you know, being out and about and experiencing this time with my daughter and being able to connect in with nature by going to the beach, you know, in between her preliminaries and finals, there was still so much coming up, right, for me personally. And when I experience things personally, I often see that pattern in the collective. So what I'm seeing now is that we are really needing to understand that whether we wish to or not, it is time for us to experience more of who we are. And one way to clear out all of the, you know, hoopla of what's going on out there is to connect in with nature. It sounds very simple and very kind of almost cliche, but by giving ourselves that space, in spite of the busyness, in spite of all that's going on, if we can simply connect in, it'll be a huge support for our systems. In addition to being supportive of us humanly, right, and energetically, what we are doing is anchoring in who we are as a vibration into the planet. What I mean by that is When we create space for ourselves to simply be, and oftentimes that space to simply be gets really supported in a natural environment, we are able to experience our own frequency more readily. Excuse me. In this expanded frequency, we open up what I would say a channel, more or less, of who we are energetically. And as we allow, as we are in this space, that energy comes through our being all the way into the earth, let's say. Now, of course, the earth herself doesn't need anything from us. It doesn't need us to uplift it or to change the frequency or to do anything like that. But what I do see is we have agreed basically in this time and space of our planetary evolution to be these anchors on a human level for the planet. So it becomes really a symbiotic relationship, as she provides and offers us sustenance and support and energy. We bring from this heavenly body a vibration that is very much like fertilizer for her, that is very much a nurturing energy source for our planet. So what I invite you to do is, whenever possible, when you're stressed and need to have time away, then find a place in nature. It could be your backyard. It could be at a park nearby. If you're indoors and you absolutely don't have any access to nature, then perhaps, grab some water, a glass of water, some crystals or rocks, if you will, and you can put them in your lap. Oh, that's my doggy. And breathe and allow the breath to carry you. And with these elements of water, of air, of, rocks or stones, and even if you have a plant nearby, then you can kind of create this offering from nature in your, apartment or wherever you are that may not be so grounded literally in an environment like this. What we are trying to do as a collective is align with who we are and own our natural birthright of being who we are, which are these organic, human beings, but as well these light bodies that are needing the human vehicle to experience more of itself. And at the same time, this is true of the earth herself, right? That this energy of the earth is is a manifestation of love consciousness in a 3D environment, right? And so what is more beautiful than to connect in this 3D planet with this source energy of love consciousness, not just for the planet, for ourselves. So I know it's kind of, woo-woo talk out there, and sometimes when I'm bringing all this information in, it's hard for me to find the right words that are scientific or that are very grounding. They tend to be etheric, but I do my best. And again, as I spoke in another episode, I hope that vibrational truth resonates with you in some way. And so think about what ways you can connect in with nature, what ways you can bring nature into your life, and how when you are tapped into this stream, how easy it is to just let it anchor in through you. What I want to share with you is the space that I work out of. This is the backyard of the building that I rent, and I am so impressed and so taken in by the beauty of this yard. Not only does she include all kinds of elements such as stones and, of course, a lush array of plants, but she even has a beautiful fountain in her yard and includes, the sounds of the chimes and such. So again, just bringing this element of nature in such a way that is awe-inspiring to those who walk in and visit us. Inside my office, I try to bring in several of the natural elements. Fire. I absolutely love candles, and so I use candles to represent both fire and air, though I don't necessarily light them. And of course, stones. I love rocks and stones of all kinds. I don't really discriminate and decide which ones are better than others. I just simply love stones and crystals, and so I welcome them into my office, whatever they may look like. And of course, the plant kingdom, bringing forth as many beautiful, luscious plants as possible, and trying to keep them alive in spite of sometimes not having a perfectly green thumb. And I would say the only element that I am missing in my office is water. At some point, I will be getting a fountain, an indoor fountain to represent water. And of course, as you've seen from other episodes, sometimes I actually bring my doggie in representing the animal kingdom. So I had to turn on the video because my girl was just needing so much love that she literally was just like, couldn't get enough, and she kept trying to get in my lap and leaning against me. And so this is the sweetest connection where there's pure unconditional acceptance of me, considering I have so many faults. And all she's wanting is for us to be together with her head literally on my lap or against my chest and receive and give love. So yeah, whether or not you have a beloved fur friend or maybe even a pet rock, nature is everywhere. And as nature beings ourselves, there's that natural connection that doesn't come from a computer or a TV or anything that's not alive.